too far because I want to give our guests here some time, and I know they're bringing something good that I believe it's very important for everyone, not just certain people, but everyone that need to be able to get their finances in order. I know sometimes we don't want to talk about that, but it's so important that we be able to know how we can be fruitful, how we can be successful. And a lot of times that starts with making sure that our finances are in order. And so I'm pleased to have with me today, Blanca. Give me help with this, Blanca, because I don't want to chop up your last name. Eschbach?
Eschbach.
Eschbach. Okay,
Yes.
see, I kind of chopped it up already. And she's been with us before, but...
I was with Stitch Ministries.
Right, before, exactly.
Yes.
And you're going to be talking about some classes along with your guests that you brought here. That is very important, again, that we're talking about. Very important to know the finances everybody has to deal with. And sometimes, a lot of times, I think we shoot ourselves in the foot and then we're complaining, well, why this and why don't I have enough money in this, when actually we would be able to get educated about this. We would probably be better off. But that's what we're here to be able to talk to you, the listeners, today about finances. So you definitely don't want to change the station, because this is very important for you to be able to get maybe your finances in order and to be able to, educate yourself. And that's what we're here to help you do that today. Thank you for being here, Blanca.
Thank you for having us. And actually, I transitioned from Stitch Ministries to Baptist Credit Union, which is who we have here today.
Right.
Yes, we have some special guests. We have Nick Holguin, who is the president and CEO of Baptist Credit Union.
Okay.
And he'll be sharing with us a little bit about the vision and the mission for the credit union itself. And then we also have Gabriela Rives, who is the VP of MemberServices and Marketing. So she plays a huge role in our outreach to the community.
Well, thank you. Welcome for joining us here. We appreciate you taking the time to be out here and being able to educate people, right? Because that's what we're about, wanting to help people. Because the need, I think even more now, the way times are, that before it was kind of like, okay, yeah, it's a little bit bad or sometimes, but I think now, because of the way everything has been going, that we need any help that we can get to be able to do or survive, or just to be able to make ends meet and not be just in the situation where, what, we're paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yeah. One of the unique things that Baptist Credit Union, or BCU as people in the community might know us from, but is that we are so much more than financial institution. And I want to pass the mic over to Nick, and you can maybe share with us a little bit about the background and why Baptist Credit Union exists.
So Baptist Credit Union was established in 1955, and it was born out of the Baptist Health System here in San Antonio. And it had a sister branch in Dallas, Texas, at the Baptist General Convention of Texas building.
Okay.
And that's where the credit union started. Our mission, I would like to make emphasis that our mission is to meet our members' needs by providing extraordinary service, quality financial products, and personal financial education. But if I could put this in one sentence, is that we would like to be viewed as their financial ministry partner.
Okay.
To help them achieve their life goals and their ministry goals. That's really what we would like our members to see us as. Not just a bank, not just a credit union, but somebody who's going to be their partner in achieving whatever their goals are, and we would love to be part of that.
Right. And you said something that I had never really thought about, but you said the finances are ministry, right? It is a ministry. And you go to the Bible, it talks about finances. And so it's very important, again, that we're able to understand these things, because a lot of times, I was thinking about this, and I don't know how true this still is right now, but it said the number one thing about divorces is finances. I don't know if that's still the number one thing, but you think about it, and it's very important that maybe some of you that are getting married, that you be able to get those things together, right? And before you get married, so you understand what, everything that comes with it, because now it's not just one person, it's two people that are coming together and bringing those things as one. And the Bible speaks about that, being able to do those things. And so it's very interesting that you mentioned that, the ministry part.
Yes, you mentioned that, and I'm going to counsel in the next couple of weeks a young couple that's getting married in my church, and that's part of the counseling that we do. Is they need to understand that they come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. different families with different traditions, different views as to the importance of money. Some families, they do talk a lot about money. Others, it's taboo. You don't speak about finances at all, which is more traditional than not, especially among minorities, because minorities tend to not have as much money as other, So we're just trying to survive sometimes, and that's one of the reasons why Baptist Credit Union exists, is that we want to be families' partners in helping them achieve their financial goals in life. But not only financial goals, but their life goals. Everything is mixed together. You cannot separate money from our daily lives, and we want to be part of that and give wise advice and direction to the people that need it.
Right, and it's all tied in, right? As much as sometimes you don't think it is, and that's the great part. That again, there's so many different resources out there that people need to be made aware of. That some of these things that you don't like. I know you were talking about the marriage part, but it's like a lot of times they prepare more for the wedding than they do the actual marriage, and that's what comes afterwards, because then they realize, well, I thought you were making this, or I thought I was making this, or you know what, I'm bringing all this baggage in, all these things that I owe, or debts, or things like that, and that's where it creates the problems, because people think, well, I didn't know. Well, that's what happens when you don't talk and discuss things, right? Especially when you don't know who to talk to that can guide you in that right step, which I think this is what this program is able to do.
Well, and many people come to the marriage with things that they are embarrassed, that they made mistakes, and one of the things, as I was making a list of the things that I'm going to speak with this young couple, one of the things that I'm going to recommend they have a serious discussion is they need to know the amount of debt that they're bringing into the marriage, their credit scores, that's very important. How do they view the money, their finances? Are they going to keep them separate or together? Those decisions have to be made from the beginning so that they can have a successful marriage, is get that out of the way and be one mind when it comes to money.
And that's very important, again, because like I said, that brings so many more problems, because it's like you said, they don't want to touch on that right now. Well, when you get married, everything comes out to the open, right? Because it's not just two, it's one, and you realize what I brought in, it's extra baggage that you didn't know I was bringing in. Now we got to deal with it because we're as one.
Yes.
And so I think that's why, the number one issues with people having divorces is the finance part. And it's very easy to see why. Because it's like, now I don't want to deal with it until I have to deal with it. Well, by then it's too late already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Gabriela, what is it exactly that you do with the program?
Well, what we try to do with the program is to reach out people and to teach them how to manage money, what to do with their financial assets, if they require a loan, what a loan is, how to manage their credit scores. Well, everything that has to do with creating a budget. A lot of people think like a budget is a limitation. Oh, I put it in a budget and it's going to be the constraint. We just have this money to do things. And they don't realize that sometimes that budget is freedom. Right. Because that is what tells them what they can do and how they can manage their money. And these kind of things is what we talk about. We talk about, okay, the credit score is very important, but relationships are also very important.
Right.
You are not just a number, which is something that happens in a lot of banks or in a lot of institutions that just lend.
Sure.
For instance, in our case, we care. We talk about relationship. What kind of business do you have with us? What is influencing your own life? We take all those things into consideration in order to be able to help you or to guide you better.
Right.
Sometimes when a person comes and they receive a no for an answer, they think, oh, they don't want to help me. And in reality, it's not that we don't want to help in that moment. We will tell you what to do so you can make it better and don't get in a bigger hole. And then you can create something in 6 months or in 7 months that can really help you.
Sure.
And that's what the difference is. You create education. You give them some pieces of advice. You give them some tools that they can use in order to build better their future. And we care a lot about our elder, for instance. We know that some people just live from the Social Security, and they need to know how to manage that money.
Right.
And it's important. any time that we talk about money is we don't know what we are going to learn from that person because it's something really hidden. A lot of people don't want to talk about money. They don't want you to know about their finances.
Right.
Who are you to know what I do with my money or not? And it's my money.
Right.
And it is true. And one of the things that are very important to understand is that we learn our money habits from our parents. If our parents don't talk about it, if our parents don't know how to deal with money, we learn that.
Right.
And we bring it up to the next stage. Even if we are single or if we're going to get married, we bring that into our own finances and into our own lives, and that's what rules how we're going to be successful or not.
Right, exactly. And if you see or if you look at anybody that's been successful, it's not because they just said, "Oh, well, I don't know what I'm doing," and it happened. Right? They have a process. They have something that they understand and they know they need to do in order for them to get from point A to point B. A lot of times we don't have that because, like you said, I always tell the kids, you can't do something that you've never been taught to do. And a lot of times you got to figure it out on your own. It's like, yeah, but how do you know if what you're doing is the right thing? And then you get to that point where it's like you figure out, oh, it wasn't right. But by that time you're way ahead of the, ahead of the game, and you're like, I got to come back and fix it now. So what you're trying to do sometimes is help people. And I know sometimes it's hard because they think, like you said, well, it's my money, this, and this. Yeah, but if you don't have those financial skills to be able to be successful, then find somebody who can help you. And I think that's what y'all are doing from what I hear.
Exactly. So you have to learn from somebody who has experience. If you're going to talk about, let's say, if you're going to talk about boxing, you're going to look at people who dedicate themselves to that.
Right.
So that's the same thing that you have to do with finances or with any other part of your life. You have to look at somebody who has been successful in that and then follow what they are doing right. So that way you can learn and you can implement it and make your own life better.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's if I may interject here, there's a couple of things that we try to do, right? We try to hold people's hands, and I'll give you an example or a couple of examples. When somebody does not qualify for a loan at our institution, we don't just simply tell them, you've been turned down, come back in a year, hopefully your credit bureau is better. What we do is we ask them if they would like for us to provide them with advice that can get them out of the jam. And one of the first things that we tell them is, we offer a couple of courses, Faith in Finance, Faith in Work. We have facilitators that are the credit union that can offer these courses that help them put their finances in order, so. And we also offer there's ways we can pull free credit bureaus, that it's not a hard pull, but a soft pull. That will not affect their credit score, so that we can tell them and give them a strategy as to how to attack that problem to improve their credit score so that they can get to where they want to be. Another thing that we do that I believe is special about the credit union is joined the credit union quite a bit, some years ago.
X amount of years.
Back in 2007. So I've been a banker for about 27, 28 years, and my heart has always been, my passion has always been to serve the underserved. And that's one of the reasons that I joined the credit union movement, is because the spirit there is people helping people, and they're not-for-profit,
right.
Which is what Baptist Credit Union is. We're a not-for-profit organization, not-for-profit, but for service. And we are very sensitive to our members' needs in a very special way. Our board of directors is comprised of CPAs, but we also have pastors, or former directors of missions, and people that serve at the convention, and we discuss the needs that our people have, right? So one of the needs that we identified back in 2007 is it was very customary for people just to pay off their autos, and that was it, right? And when they had a need for a loan, they would go and apply for a signature loan. That would be more expensive than an auto loan. So one of the things that we came up with was the auto equity loan, like the home equity loan, right? And back then, no institution was doing that here in San Antonio. And we said, why not? You have an asset, put it to work, right? Get a low interest rate, 2, 3, 4% on your auto loan instead of a 9% for a signature loan, right? So it's things like that what we're always trying to identify to help families get to their goals in a cheaper and more affordable and wiser way.
Right, and that's so true, because the more information, the better equipped you are to make a better decision. And a lot of times when you don't have those things in place, it's kind of difficult, because you're kind of like, well, we think this will be the best, and it may not be. And I know you were talking about, you said something about a credit union. For those who may not know, there's a difference between a regular bank and a credit union. Credit union, I know because I belong to a credit union, give you a lot better, deals, because you said it's not for profit necessarily, but gives you that better financial means to be able to do it better. Because I know some of the bigger banks, man, they just, I understand they serve a purpose, but for an individual, I think it's probably better to connect with a credit union. And I know that's what y'all represent as one of the credit unions there.
Now that you're mentioning that, I would like to kind of like explain. A credit union is formed by members.
Mm-hmm.
When you belong to a credit union, you are partially owner of that company. So that makes you like, it's mine.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of you. So why you're not gonna be interested in doing it right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a bank, you can just put your money, take it out, and you are a number.
You're a number.
You're a customer.
Right.
In the credit union, we care because we are all going to benefit from the same pool.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, we really need to be stewards of this money, and we really need to know what we're doing with it.
Right.
You cannot just go and say, hey, sorry, we went to a trip and we spent it all. That's not the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be responsible. If you're teaching responsibility, you have to be responsible.
Yes.
If you're teaching how to manage money, our own members, our own employees have to know how to use their money.
Right.
So we have to start at home. We have to teach our own first, and then they can teach everybody else.
Right. Lead by example, right? A lot of times
That's exactly right.
It's very easy to tell somebody to do this when we're not doing it. And that's why it's like being a leader, that's the whole thing, that I have to show you, because I have to lead by example. And if we're not doing that, then how can I really tell you to say, well, do this and do that, when I can't even do it? And I know a lot of times we talk about, you brought up the point that this is like a ministry, and it is, like your home is your first ministry. Mm-hmm. And that's where it starts. So if you cannot control, or you cannot be able to get that in line, then it's going to be very difficult when you go outside of that to want to get everything in order when you don't have your house first in order. But it's hard, because like I said, you never know if you were never taught, growing up, some of these, they didn't have these skills. So how can they teach you something that they've never been taught? And that's why sometimes we have to look up to those professionals, or those who really know. I mean, I'll do what I can, but I know my limit. At some point, I have to reach out to somebody, because I don't know. And so there's no shame in that, because I think that makes you a very smart person, because you understand your limit and know that, okay, I want to do this better, but I have to reach out to someone who really may be an expert on this, who can help me, get over that hurdle to do it better. And so that's what I'm hearing from what y'all are trying to do.
And we all make mistakes.
Sure.
There's mistakes everywhere. And the mistakes come from not knowing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, when you know and you make a mistake, then there's a problem.
Right.
But when you don't know, get to the people who can really teach you how to do it. And that's the most important thing. And one of the things that we all really need to know is, what do we want? Once you know what you want, you can decide where really you can go and get help.
Mm-hmm.
And to be humble enough to accept the fact that you do need help. You don't know everything.
No.
So there's somebody who will help you.
And sometimes the help is not there. Let me mention this about 10 years ago. There were pastors that were coming to the credit union, speaking with me, that they were having a lot of trouble getting smaller church loans. They would go to bigger banks, and just because they needed $100,000, they would just be left at the bottom of the stack, and they would never get a call back. Because dealing with a commercial loan, which a church loan would be considered a commercial loan or a business loan, it takes the same amount of time to underwrite a $1 million loan than a $100,000 loan, right? So they were not getting calls back, and that's another way that we serve our community is the board. I approach the board and I say, why aren't we making loans to the smaller churches, right? Mm-hmm. So we had a discussion, and we came to the conclusion that we needed to serve that sector of smaller churches in the community that were having a lot of problems getting a loan to remodel the church or repave their parking lot, stuff like that.
How many churches are there in that situation too? I bet you there's a lot.
There's a lot. Right now we're working with 7 churches that are trying to get just smaller loans, not big loans. $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to make repairs, to replace their air conditioning units or to buy a van, things of that nature. Not necessarily a big loan, which we can make any size of loan, but we specialize on the smaller church because we know that it's being neglected by the bigger institutions.
And that's good to know, because if you're listening out there, I don't know, you may be a pastor, you may be a leader, or somebody who's in charge of the finances. It's good to know that these type of services are available, right? Because a lot of times you think you may be doing it on your own, you don't know where to turn to, and that's what Bridging the Gap is, trying to make those connections to bring these services or these resources that are available for them to be able to connect with them and know that, oh wow, I didn't know that. So now you know, so that may be something you can look at. We're almost close to the end of our show, but if somebody's out there that maybe really says, that I hear what you're saying and I need to be able to do it better, or I need help and somebody who can guide me, where can they reach to get more information or the programs that you're offering? Who can they talk to, or do you have a website or a number where they can reach you?
We have a website.
Okay.
It is www.baptist.org, and you can find a lot of information there. You can find a contact us form that it will come to us. Also, you can call us at any time to the 1-800 number, which right now I have it here.
It's 210-525-0100. That's our local.
And that's the local number. And anybody who answers the phone will guide you.
Okay.
So again, 210-525-0100 or baptistcu.org.
Okay. So there's help. Don't despair. You may be at the last, at the last line there, and you're thinking, well, that's it. I'm done. No, there's always hope, right? With God, there's hope, especially when they have people that really care for you, that people that want to see you succeed. And this is what I'm hearing. So reach out to them. Don't hold back, because it's important. This could be the life-changing moment that you need to get back on top of things, to be successful, to be profitable, and that's what God wants, right? God says, I come here so that you can have life and have it abundantly. And when I hear abundantly, that means an overflow, whether it's in your finances, in your daily life, whatever it may be. But that's why we're here to help you to get to that point and take advantage of those things. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you all taking the time. And we'll be back here again next week. God bless you and take care.